So being a local realtor, I often am asked about unique businesses that you can find in Columbus. And I'm so thankful that I found Cascata, and Kristy, who is with me today, is the owner. She is a gifting expert. So we're going to talk a little bit about how her gift is gift creating. But I first want to just talk a little bit about how you started this and where the name came from. So tell us how you came up with Cascata.
Sure. So about 3 years ago, I had been working in the corporate retail space, and one day I just quit my job, and there was just a lot going on. I had lost numerous family members to cancer, and that was really hard, and one of my dearest friends was going through stage 4 chemo treatment. I kept sending her flowers, and finally she was like, "It's a really lovely thought, but I can't have the live organisms in the room." So basically she would have nothing to do with the flowers. In the meantime, I had lost two aunts and 2 uncles to cancer as well, and watching all of them go through this time in their life when there was really nothing to say to them that were the right words that would make it easier, that would make it better. The loss of a parent, the loss of a sibling is often very hard. And so when I started the business, I had in mind of things that we could send to them that would be meaningful and keepsake and something that they would actually use, and not a trinket that they would throw away. But I sort of just started to wrap my head around all this, and while my friend was going through treatment, I shifted and started sending her care packages, and through the care packages, since I had quit my job, I was like, I have to do something. So I started doing Cascata, and before it was Cascata, I just was doing it for fun. And to come up with a name, I had gone through, different things in my life that made me happier, that had meaning towards something in my life, and I always loved being close to nature. And Cascata is actually the meaning of waterfall in Italian, which is a sense or release of emotion, and spirituality. It kind of spoke to me in terms of the meaning behind the company, the spirit and the renewal and what you're trying to give people and speak to them. So yeah, that's how we kind of got started, and it just kind of went from there.
I love that. And we've been working together for a little over a year. Yes. And I never knew that. And it's such a cool layer to the story, which is also what I love about all these amazing local businesses in Columbus, which you are a big one. Okay, so help us with tips and tricks. Like, let's say I need a gift and I have no idea where to start, and I just know I need to call you.
Sure.
Okay.
So the first thing I would ask is, do you know anything about the person or the recipient? And if you do, that's awesome. Just anything from very small details to the life event that they're going through, or the reason in which you're gifting them. Or if you don't know anything about them and it's an acquaintance, that's totally fine too. So something I like to do when I am curating a gift for someone is really think about the reason in which they're receiving the gift. If it is just for a just because gift, just simple things that people might not buy for themselves, but would very much enjoy. So a lot of self-care that a lot of people don't take the time, especially during this really stressful time, is the time for themselves. So I think that's really important. So if it's just because, it's, focusing on things that people wouldn't necessarily buy for themselves. But if it's like, for say, a housewarming gift, a candle is great to give.
Love it.
And then tying a meaning to that. So your light always has home. Or some salt and pepper and some vinegar and oil, so your house always has flavor. So really just tying together everything so that there's a meaning behind it, because just that extra step and extra meaning makes it that more thoughtful and that more meaningful for the recipient.
Kristy, one thing I think you're so good at is actually curating the box itself. I have had so many people tell me that it just feels like luxury in a box, and it makes them feel so super special. So show us how you do it, because this is not something where it's like you're unwrapping an Amazon box. I mean, you're unwrapping something very thought out.
For sure. So we try to make it an experience in itself. So a lot of times we're sending boxes and you're getting things from people that you don't know who it's from. So we try to incorporate a lot of layers in the unboxing. So from the initial box that you get it in all the way to when you finally open the card and you know who it's from. So what we're going to start with is a box here. And I filled the box with shred and tissue paper, because this is going to be an added layer for them to work through to get the gift. So I'm going to fill it with a bunch of good, fun self-care products, because who doesn't love self-care?
Exactly.
So I make sure everything's packed in here very nicely and very secure, especially when shipping, to make sure that it arrives to your expectations once the recipient receives it. So I'm packaging everything in here.
You're so good at this.
For good measure. I always like to make sure everything is equally balanced within the boxes too. I think just aesthetically it looks a lot better when you have everything aesthetically looking well, and I always try and make color palettes complete and matching. So the next step is I'm going to close up the box and then tape it shut. So that's an added layer, something they have to work through to get through. And then typically what I would do is put the card inside here so that once they get here, they still don't know who it's from and it's still a mystery. So we tie it securely with some cross-grain ribbon.
Should do a bow tying class.
Yes, it has taken me a long time to perfect the bow, and I'm still working on it for sure. I always tie a double knot before I tie the actual bow. That will secure it a little bit better. And then once cutting the bow, if you notice, if you're ever using different types of ribbon, they have a tendency to fray. So a little trick that you can use when gift wrapping is always fray the ends with a lighter. It seals the edges and keeps them from fraying. And then we always add a little garnish. So with the double knot on the top, it's going to take them a little bit of time to open up. So it keeps the suspense there. So when they finally get to the card and they open it, they know who it's from, and then there's another layer to open. So the excitement just keeps growing and growing until they get there.
You're a whiz. So good.